think the lunch was not great. I didn't hear anyone saying good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, that's great. Myself, Krunal Jariwala, and I'm representing Excellence IT. And nopAccelerate is one of our products, and we offer nopCommerce services under that. And I'm going to talk about nopCommerce performance optimization techniques. But before we do that, I would like to congratulate the organizer, the nopCommerce, and Mr. Andre for this success. I would like to declare something as well. I'm feeling a little nervous because this is the first time I'm speaking in front of this many people in any such event. So, but I think it will be fine. And I'm very grateful to be here because I believe you are some of the brightest people in the industry. So let's start. So during this 45 minutes, we are going to talk about why performance matters, how we can improve the performance, and some common mistakes we make as a developer. So the presentation is divided into 3 areas, and we are not going into a lot of details. We are going to discuss on the principles of how we can make it faster and how we can avoid those mistakes. So because each site is different, there is no general rules or there is no specific thing. If we do those things, the performance will be fast. When it's slow, we need to identify the areas which can be improved or which might be wrong. And then if we do the right thing, the performance will be good out of the box. So let's see, if you are selling online, every seconds count. Before we do that, I would like to share my experience with one of the superstore. It was a new superstore open in our locality. I went there, I bought some 20 items, then I went to a checkout. At the checkout area, I see there are only 3 checkout counters and there are 10 people ahead of me. And within a blink of a second, I decided to drop my cart and left the cart, and then I bought the same thing from some other shop where I can do it quicker and faster. I think all of us have this kind of experiences. Yes? So time is an important resource to all of us. And our visitors who are actually buyers, for them time is important as well. So people are not going to wait for longer. Online sales is growing faster compared to offline sales. And if we are selling online, time is something we need to care. We need to be fast. We need fast websites because our attention span has been reduced recently from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. That means we keep hold of a thought for very few seconds. If we are not getting those customers and if our website is not loading under that that seconds, then we are going to lose those visitors. We can see with each second delay in page load time, page abandonment increases. So if we have a slow e-commerce website, our customers, we are going to lose our customers and selling. And the faster competition websites wins our customers. Now let's see how it impacts our bottom line. I think all of you will agree that a slower website will lose more sales compared to faster websites. We can see 49% of people do not like to wait for more than 10 seconds and before they abandon a website. And here is some findings that if an e-commerce site is making $100,000 per day, a 1 second page delay could potentially cost you $2.5 million in sales annually. Now this applies to smaller stores as well. It is not just for a bigger stores. A smaller stores is going to lose customers as well. But if you have a larger store, it is going to impact you more in terms of loss of sales. We all know that a dissatisfying experiences wherever we have is going to have some impact on our buying behavior. So 79% dissatisfying online shopping experiences are less likely to visit again. We don't buy from the same store or from the same brand again, even from the same online store of the same brand. So quick page load is a key factor for consumer loyalty. There are many other factors. For example, look and feel of a website when you are selling online. The product features, pictures of products, as well as ease of use, and speed is among them as well. I would like to ask you a question. How many of you shop from a mobile? Can you please raise your hands? Many, right? Because we have our mobile when we are free. Maybe a doctor's appointment, a lawyer's appointment, or anywhere. Maybe when we are commuting somewhere. We have our mobile, we search for the products and we can buy from them. And how much time do you like to wait before a site is loaded on mobile? Very few seconds, right? So for mobile, it is even more important to have a faster website, because this shopping on mobile is growing faster compared to desktop. And we can see on mobile cart on mobile shopping cart, out of 100 people who added product to a cart, only 3 people or 3% people completes the checkout, and we lose 97% people whom could we have sold. nopCommerce has a persistent cart feature, so we can still recover these things, but a loss is a loss. It's an opportunity we have lost. And site speed is one of the important factor when we are talking about abandon rates. Our traffic is also impacted if we have a slow site speed. For example, how many of you searches for at least 3 pages before you click on the search result? No one. Why? Google is clever enough to offer us a highly relevant results in the top few listings. So we don't even go to a next page. So it's very important to have our website on the top of the listings. And site speed is one of the important factor for Google to consider as one of user experience thing. So if we have a slower site, it does not only impact to abandon rate, but it also impact our search, our listings on the search results. And we all know about these things. A slow tag on a mobile search results. People are not clicking on those things, and this won't be appearing on our analytics as an abandoned opportunities as well. Let's look about how it impacts our conversion, brand perception, and loyalty. I would like to ask you a question. How many of you would like to have a loyal customers? Many. Why? Because we can sell them again and again, right? We can serve newer customers as well as we can serve the older customers, and older customers are easily served, better to serve. Moreover, website speed is an important user experience that make our customers happy. Happy customers comes again more frequently and buy more. And visitors who face low site speed issues are less likely to return because they don't like to buy from the same site again. We can see a conversion rate, how it decreases with the average page load time in seconds. A fast performing website is good for our servers as well, because with the same resources we can serve more requests, more customers, we have more room to grow, and it reduces our hosting cost as well. So if we have these things and efforts or investment we make into doing a performance optimization, will be paying you fast enough. Now let's see how we can optimize nopCommerce performance. But before we see that, we are going to talk about the basics of performance optimization, then how we can optimize the front end, the back end, the network part, and the common mistakes we make as a developer. Moreover, it should be noted that if we don't understand the process very well, then performance optimization projects can fail and or it can be very costly as well. So let's look at some of the basic rules. Now I would like to share you that not every website requires a performance optimization. nopCommerce is optimized very well out of the box. It performs very well, right? So not each and every project or every website requires these things. And we all know in last few releases, nopCommerce has been optimized with performance increments. But it's very important that we don't need to rush for optimization at the time of development of a project, because the important thing is the loss of focus. If we lost our focus of enhancing with the features, then those features might not be implemented very well, or it might be very costly to implement, and we might be actually investing our time and resources in optimizing the wrong areas or wrong methods which might not be required. So the first thing we should be doing is measuring the performance, and we should be measuring the performance on staging server as well as production servers, because performance optimization is not easy. When you do, it is going to cost you money as well, and there is no limit on what we can spend. We can spend millions and millions of dollars on optimizing something which might not be required. So we have to measure first, and simulation is not enough. We should be simulating, but simulation can never replicate the real user's behavior. So we should be also measuring performance on production servers. Our strategy would be to monitor and identify the slower things or slower methods, and then maybe we can use profiling to figure out why it's slow. So we can identify an exact area we need to optimize, and we don't need to optimize the whole thing. We just need to figure out and only optimize the thing which is slowing it down. Moreover, all these kinds of projects should be goal oriented. For example, reducing a home page load time from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. If we don't plan it early, then we can spend our time in a wrong area. So how we can identify where does it spend most of the time? So I would like to ask, how many of you are a developer here? Almost everyone. So we are not going to discuss what does this thing means, but we are just going to discuss how we can identify. There are some few key indicators we need to monitor first in the preliminary stage of the project. For example, we can look for the TTFB, time to first byte. It's a time a page is taking to respond with the first byte when the requests are made. Then we can check the downloading time. We can check how much time it takes to render, and then we should also monitor the traffic during these stages. So once we have these details, we can identify very easily what is making our website slower. For example, if we have a quick TTFD but a slow rendering, I think all of you got the point. It's a front end which is making our website seem slow. If we have a quick TTFB, rendering is fast enough but contents are not being downloaded timely, then it's a network which might be there. So we need to focus in that area. If we have high TTFB time, then it might be an application or a database server, or maybe some other component we use which might be making our website slower. So it's very important to monitor all of these things. Once we get to the basics, then we can figure out which particular thing to dig deeper. Now let's look at how we can optimize the front end. Front end is very important because our customers are going to see only the front end. They are not bothered about the back end, what databases we use, what technologies we use. They just want to have the good performing website where they can complete their purchase faster and easily. So it's very important that we focus on the front end. Moreover, a good front end can make a slow website seems faster, because it is always the perception which matters. It is not the absolute speed, it is the perception of the speed when we are talking about website speed. And similarly, a poor front end can kill your website and make your fast website look slower as well. So we need to first figure out those things and focus our attention on optimizing the front end. For example, we can give a nice indication when page is loading. It is very important. So the visitors will feel that yes, something is loading and it's working. Moreover, for most of the websites, nopCommerce websites, the development is happening on the front end. And majority of development is happening on the front end as well. So with this, our goal is to optimize as much as possible, load as much as possible, and load as fast as possible. Now about CSS, HTML and CSS, we just need to take care that we are doing the standard thing. For example, we need to review and validate our HTML when we are working on projects. We need to put our CSS in headers and JS in the footer, and of course there are certain JavaScripts which is written in between of pages in nopCommerce. So we need to also take care of those things. For example, we can wrap those scripts into require.js and then load and execute as it is, as and when it is required to load. So it does not block the pages, the rendering of the page. Now e-commerce websites is a complex website, lot of pages, lot of graphics. We need to display high quality pictures, so it has a lot of images. Images is something we can optimize very easily using the right tool. We can reduce the size of images. For example, if we are using 100% quality, we can try with maybe 90%, 80%, 70%. We can use what works best for our customers and for their customers, because if the website is not loading fast enough, a high quality image doesn't make any sense. We can use image sprites, which can combine multiple images, and using CSS backgrounds we can display them. We can also lazy load certain images which is not required. This is to faster the over the fold contents. So when visitors are coming to our website, they see the pages are loading faster. For the rest of the content, it can load in the background. We can also we should be doing compression. It is very easy to do, and for example, a gzip, a simple gzip, if we enable those things into our server, it can reduce an 100 KB file to maybe 10 or maybe 15 KB. This is a very simple optimization technique that we often miss. We should use minification bundling, and we should have the cache headers set properly onto our servers for loading static resources. Now, most of the e-commerce website, we need to use numbers of external scripts as well. For example, we have analytics to monitor visitors and traffic. We have a chat which is hosted somewhere else, or maybe a SaaS system. We are displaying some ads somewhere, or maybe something else. We need to make sure that we are using the async version of these JavaScripts, which doesn't block the loading of further resources. So our front end can be much faster. Now let us talk about some of the tools we can use. For example, web page is one of my favorite. I am sure most of you have used some of these tools. All of these tools are using some having some rules, and based on that they offer some kind of score or ranking or maybe grading like A, B, and again they are very easy to use. Once we have our website published, we can just give our URL and perform a test. Now web page test gives us a very good analysis how the first view is being loaded and how the repeat view has been loaded. This is very important to understand the caching. You can identify if it is working properly or not. Moreover, there are many other tools. For example, GT Matrix again utilizes the YSlow and Google Page Speed API and gives us a very nice report about how the page front end is performing. If we follow the suggestions made by these tools, most of our job is done. We just need to ensure how to implement them. Pingdom is a tool which can do a repeated and automated page load test. So, and moreover, they offer monitoring tools as well. So these tools are still a basic. We just need to learn how to use them and how to then apply those suggestions to our website to make it faster. Next, we are going to talk about optimizing nopCommerce backend. This is the most difficult task. So if our TTFB is not very good, that means somewhere is wrong in whatever customizations we have done, or maybe some plugin, or maybe some other issues with the server is there. Because nopCommerce is a complex system. It uses a lot of projects. It accesses a lot of files in the background. There are a lot of images and scripts to be processed dynamically, and it needs to access a lot of files. So if the very basic thing is, if our IO is not supporting the high-speed reads, then our website is going to get slow. So the simple thing is to use the hardware which supports faster read times. For example, we can use more RAM. If RAM is less, again the caching will not work properly. Use the SSD if possible, or maybe if the performance is our goal, then there are PCI based Fusion IO card as well, which works as faster as RAM and which offers a very good latency to access the data and files. So again, our strategy is here to identify what makes our website slow. Now, how we can find out what makes our website slow? For example, monitoring can give us an idea what pages are slow. But why those pages are slow, we don't get from front-end tools. So we can use a profiling tool. nopCommerce already has a mini profiler, which is a very good tool, but it just gives us the last page load results, and we can see how the methods are being performed. If we use the right tool, for example, there is a New Relic and there are other profiling tools which can help us identify the issues. Our goal is to find out those methods which makes our website slow. So the easiest way to focus on those things which is taking most time, because when we are talking about performance, time is the most important resource. Moreover, we should be also looking at how many time or how frequently these things are requested. If we are focusing our efforts on optimizing the things which might be requested of maybe 1 or 2 times in an hour, then it's a wrong thing. We should be only focusing optimizing those things which has been accessed very frequently and which is making our website slow. Once we identify those things, we need to figure out how we can fix those things. So there might be some method which is not used for your project or which is not important. So the simplest thing could be to disable those things. When it is not possible, we need to have again look into deeper. For example, are the database queries making it slow? We can use database profiler to figure out those things. Moreover, once we identify those things, we need to refactor the code. We can implement caching, or we can just, for example, prepare the view before it is requested. So when it is requested, it will be ready to serve. This can make it very faster. For SQL queries, we can replace those slower queries with maybe a store procedure, and always make sure to check the execution path of the store procedures so we get an exact idea. Sometimes we have forget to add an index, so this is going to cost us a lot in terms of performance. So just we need to take care that we don't make this mistake, and then this will be much easier to work with. Moreover, we need to host our SQL on a dedicated server. This is the most common thing we should be doing, because SQL is designed to be faster, and to be faster, it uses as much RAM as possible. Now, if we have all of the things, our web server and the database server on the same machine, then maybe there are not enough RAM available to the application to do a caching properly. In that case, caching will expire early and will have a slower site. We need to also monitor that how the SQL is performing. So we can have some monitoring tools which can monitor the SQL performance when it is in production. This can help us identify the problems before they happen. For example, we should be maintaining SQL properly. Sometimes we have found out that auto growth configurations are not properly, and the database is completely fragmented on disk. It can kill our performance of the database. Moreover, SQL Server has a number of editions. We have a free edition, which is an express, then we have a web, then we have a standard. So just make sure if performance is the goal, we are using the right SQL Server edition. Now, how can we optimize the network? Consider network as the most important thing, because this is it is a network which connects your visitors to your website. If we don't have the right network, then we are going to miss and have issues with these things. So when we are optimizing the network, the first two things we need to consider is bandwidth and latency. Consider bandwidth as a highway. So for example, if we have a narrower road on a highway, there are only few cars which can pass through those narrow roads. So the wider the road, the more cars can travel and faster it can travel. Similarly, if we have the right bandwidth, more than a sufficient bandwidth, then it will be much easier for content to download without having a waiting. Latency is very important. Latency is actually a time it takes to receive a request. For example, a round trip. We can check between, for example, ping. Using a ping, we can identify how much latency it takes between our system and the server. So similarly, consider if we have 100 resources on a website, and on an average it takes 50 milliseconds in terms of latency. It is going to take at least 5 seconds waiting in that case. So if we just optimize the latency, a lot of optimization or a good result we can achieve. We should be minimizing the request. For example, we discussed about using a sprite, and we can minimize requests by using a bundling, or maybe combining. Browser has a limit on how many connections it can make to a particular domain. So we can use a technique called domain sharding here. A domain sharding is a technique where we divide our resources onto multiple domains. So browsers think of them as a separate websites, and then we can download contents parallelly without blocking the content. Moreover, we can use a speedy, which is a newer protocol soon to be announced as HTTP2. So this PD is a transport layer that sits on the top of SSL, and it combines multiple requests into a single session. So our content will be loaded faster into a single request. It can make our website very faster without putting a lot of efforts. I think Cloudflare is already deployed these things, and this we can utilize very easily. The next thing we can do very easily is to reduce page download size. Suppose we are loading a lot of resources. If we can reduce the page download size, it can make our websites a lot easier and a lot faster. And this is something we can do very easily. For example, we can use an image compression tool. We can compress our CSS and JavaScript file. Suppose, can you tell me which will be a faster, a 3 MB a page which takes 3 MB of content to load, or maybe 300 KB to load? It's very simple. 300 KB is going to be much faster. So our goal is to reduce the page download size. We can minimize traffic using a compression, and that means we have a smaller car to run on a highway. We can use Ajax to load contents when it's required. So there are many contents which is required for website to perform faster, but we can prioritize over the fold content, so it loads first, and then the rest of the content can be loaded when it is required. When, for example, an infinite scrolling, or maybe a carousel that loads content for the next few products only when it is required and clicked by a visitor. This can make our website a lot faster. We can offload static resources using CDN. CDN is very important because it can help us reduce our bandwidth as well. Moreover, our visitors are going to download the contents from the closest CDN nodes only. In case of not using a CDN, everything is downloaded from the same location. But if you are using a good CDN, it will perform a lot of functions. For example, it will be performing caching. It will automatically set expires headers, so the content will be cached for longer. It will be offloading a lot of traffic for static resources. In that case, our server will be free from a lot of I/O which might be required to serve those requests. We can use a good capable hosting. This is again very common. We cannot host an Amazon on a single or maybe a SAT server. We need to have a right infrastructure if our goal is a good performing nopCommerce website. So now let's talk about the common mistakes. The most common mistake is not measuring. The main thing is to keep the main thing, and this is the main thing. If we don't measure the performance, we are not going to have an idea how the website is performing, what methods are getting slow, how it will be performed when we are running some campaign. If we don't have these details, then we are not able to decide what to do. So the first thing we should be doing is measuring performance continuously. We have seen that when we develop a website, it works faster, and then after maybe few months, the server is not maintained properly, or maybe things are not done properly, and we see a drop in performance of pages because it was not monitored. If it was monitored, then those actions or maybe those lags can be found very early. We see configuration mistakes. For example, not doing the proper nopCommerce configurations. There are many nopCommerce configurations which can help you improve the performance. But if you don't understand it properly, it can also reduce the performance as well. For example, having a multiple languages and not publishing those, and not having resources for those languages. When the resources are not available, the requests, we are going to see a lot of errors in our logs. And again, when we are talking about performance, everything matters. We have multiple currency, multiple languages, multiple store. So accordingly, these settings needs to be configured. We can have, we should be enabling bundling and compression. These things are available out of the box in nopCommerce. IIS. In IIS, we might be logging everything, but we might just need to log the errors on the production server. Of course, on debugging time, we need to log and we need to check how it is working and how it is performing. But when the site goes to a production server, we forget to disable to log everything, and this can again, writing is as expensive as reading. So we need to figure out those things and configure these things correctly. For example, we have an SQL server, which is we have created an SQL database by using a default configurations and not setting auto growth options. This results in a fragmented database files. So our data access becomes slower in that case. We might be having an antivirus to scan for the site whenever it is requested. This is the most common mistakes we make. We want to have a secure website, we want to have a virus scanning, but it shouldn't be done on the read time. When we are talking about production server, it should be done only on writing maybe, and it should be done at the off-peak time only. It shouldn't be done on the peak time. In cases of using Redis cache, which is already available in nopCommerce, and not using the right tier of Redis cache, or not using the right tier, is going to kill the performance as well. If we don't need multiple instances, then we shouldn't be using Redis cache, because it is again now another component and is going to make our website slow. So we should be using Redis tier, Redis cache only when it is required and we are using multiple instances to scale our website. We should be monitoring all the error logs. We have error logs in nopCommerce, we have in IIS, SQL has the error log. So it is very important to see how it is working. If we don't know, then it is going to cost us in terms of performance. One of the common mistakes we do is fail to test for capacity plant. The first thing, we don't measure, and then we are running a campaign and we don't know how much visitors it will be able to serve. So if we are doing something like that, we should be doing a load testing, a stress testing, to figure out how the nopCommerce is going to perform, and what are the things we can make sure so it works well. So we can increase the capacity in that case. Underperforming hosting tier, I think we already discussed. We should be choosing the right hosting tier. Going with the basics one is not going to help when we are talking about performance. Taking backups in peak hours. So we should be taking those in off-peak hours. There's again a very basic, but we often forget those things, and due to these things, we see our website getting slower. Then making complex reports query on same DB. For any e-commerce website, it is very important to have the right metrics available to business owners or to the management team. And if we are talking about a large website, then we should be doing this query only in the off-peak time. We can schedule those reports, or maybe the best thing we should be doing is to have a replicated SQL server just for reporting, dedicated for reporting. That can make that can free our SQL server from the load which is not required. So it can work faster when it will work faster to serve the actual purpose, which is to serve requests as faster as possible to the visitors. Now, what are the tools we can use? I think we have covered most of the things and discussed about the strategy on what are the things we can do and how we can do. Now let's talk about some of the tools. For example, for monitoring, Pingdom is a very good. There is a monitor.us, and there are other certain tools. Okay, thank you. Which we can use, and we can use to generate a load. We can use a web capacity planner, which already comes into a Visual Studio. Visual Studio has a lot of tools, and Azure has a tool as well for capacity planning and testing, which we can use. It is called, I think, cloud performance testing on Azure. To generate a load, we can use JMeter, Selenium, or Load Runner. And for profiling, there are numbers of tools. For example, there is a profiling tool called IntelliTrace, which is available inside Visual Studio, which gives us an idea how much time our code is taking to execute certain details or to generate a certain page. We can use New Relic. It gives us a very good idea about how the pages are performing, how the application and database is performing, what is not performing well and why it's not performing well. It can give us an idea about what particular method to focus to improve the performance, and then we can work on those things. Now, how we can scale nopCommerce? Very quickly, we don't need to scale nopCommerce if most things are in order. Moreover, for most of the websites, 3 to 4 seconds is fast enough. But if we have a huge traffic, we are anticipating a traffic, and if we are planning for those things, then we should be scaling nopCommerce. But what to scale? We need to identify what component is underperforming. So if we have a less RAM, we need to increase the RAM. If we have outgrown our server, we have scaled horizontally, then maybe we can add multiple instances to serve those requests. We can scale either horizontally or scaling. This is again a very standard term, so we all know what this means, and we just need to figure out how to do that and how well to do that. Now, cloud hosting like Azure can make these things very easy to do. For example, we can have a configuration. If our RAM is utilized by 80%, add 4 GB more RAM. So it will be utilized and done automatically in the background. If our response time is this much, then let us add new instance. So it can be done automatically without any interference, and our customers are going to have a smoother experience. So it can scale automatically. Now, this is a strategy what we need to do. Summing up everything, we need to monitor, we need to profile, and to identify what takes most time, and then what makes it slow. Once we identify, we need to optimize only that part of the code which is slower and replace it with something that is more efficient. And then, of course, the last one is keep improving. But for that also we need to monitor our production servers, how it works. And if we have these details, then we can identify what else we can improve, So we can have the fastest working nopCommerce website. I think I have covered most of the things, and it will help you, all of you, to understand it in a better way. Moreover, I would like to say thank you to listen to me, and I would like to say thank you to our team who worked who worked well and enabled me to prepare this presentation very well.